Welcome to the biggest news in baseball. We start with the emotional fallout as Francisco Lindor reacts to the New York Mets' devastating 11-game losing streak. Lindor shares his raw feelings about the struggle, how the team is fighting together, and what it means to keep pushing forward when the pressure is crushing. We dive deep into the team's performance during this heartbreaking stretch and why every single player is standing tall despite the tough results.
Tired of dropping your phone or struggling to hold it with one hand? The PopSocket's Pop Grip gives you a secure grip, works as a phone stand, and even lets you swap the top for a fresh new look. Simple, useful, and perfect for everyday phone use. Click the link in the comments to grab yours on Amazon.
Next up, we look at the final score of that brutal contest. We review the details of the Chicago Cubs defeating the New York Mets 2-1 in 10 innings on April 19th at Wrigley Field. We break down the critical moments of that game, including the defensive misplays that really stung the team, and what that single game means for the overall trajectory of the season. Now, we get the inside scoop from manager Carlos Mendoza, as he doesn't hold back when discussing the New York Mets' 11-game losing streak. Mendoza addresses the tough questions about the team's performance, the team's current standing, and the intense speculation swirling around his future with the franchise. We explore what the manager is saying about the path forward. Finally, we examine the wider context of this historic slump. We look at how the New York Mets' record now places them in the NL East, and we hear Francisco Lindor's perspective on the situation, defending the manager while acknowledging the need for execution. Stick with us because we are tracking every move as the Mets fight to turn this tide, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more breaking baseball news. The New York Mets are grappling with a significant slump, having suffered an 11-game losing streak following a 2-1 defeat to the Chicago Cubs on Sunday. The extended losing streak is clearly taking a toll on the team, prompting emotional reactions from key figures. Francisco Lindor acknowledged the difficult sentiment, stating, "This feeling sucks. It's not a good feeling. We're professionals, and we've got to find a way out of it. We've got to do whatever it takes to end up on top after 27 outs, sometimes 30 outs. It's not a good feeling, but nobody here is handing their heads. Everybody's got their head up high. We're fighting for each other." Statistically, the losing streak has been characterized by poor offensive output, with the Mets averaging just 1.7 runs per game during this stretch. The team has been shut out 3 times and has scored 2 or fewer runs 9 times in the recent woes, totaling 12 such performances this season. This offensive struggle is particularly notable given the presence of established players like Lindor, Juan Soto, currently injured, Bo Bichette, and Marcus Semien. Addressing the performance, Lindor attributed the struggles to execution in high-leverage moments. He noted that while individual at-bats have been solid, mentioning specific examples like Bichette hitting 2 baseballs over 105 mph and Lewis Robert Jr. hitting pitches over 98-100 mph, alongside quality at-bats from Semien and Melendez, the team has failed to convert in crucial situations. Sometimes baseball is on your side, and sometimes baseball isn't on our side. The Cubs executed with guys in scoring position, and we didn't. And I feel like that's been the thing for the past week and a half. We gotta bring it. We gotta continue to bring it day in and day out. No one's going to feel sorry. We can't feel sorry for ourselves. We've got to bring it, he emphasized. The MLB season remains relatively young, offering the Mets time to correct course. However, the current hole they are digging is substantial. Currently trailing the Atlanta Braves by 7.5 games in the NL East, analysts suggest that without an immediate turnaround, the gap is likely to widen. The Chicago Cubs secured a hard-fought victory over the New York Mets on Sunday, April 19, 2026, winning the game 2-1 in the 10th inning at Wrigley Field. The contest proved to be a tense affair, ultimately decided by the Cubs in extra innings. The final score reflected a tight battle between the two teams as they battled through the extended period of play. Noi dung kai tight. The New York Mets are facing a severe crisis following an 11-game losing streak in Major League Baseball, concluding Sunday afternoon with a 2-1 defeat against the Cubs. The team's struggles are highlighted by a poor offensive output, having scored only 19 runs in their first 11 games since April 7th, a slide that experts suggest is one of the worst in franchise history, given the team's high payroll and expectations. /N veteran analyst Bob Nightingale criticized the team's performance, noting the continued ugliness of the Mets, specifically referencing a painful 2-1. 10-inning loss to the Cubs marked by a blown save by Devin Williams in the 9th and a loss by reliever Craig Kimbrell in the 10th. Nightingale pointed out that the last time the Mets experienced a longer losing streak was back in 2002. /N in post-game press conferences, manager Carlos Mendoza addressed the mounting pressure. When questioned on whether the team was running out of time, despite it still being April, Mendoza responded firmly, stating, "Losses, that's a lot, whether it's in April or at any point in the season. Nobody's going to feel sorry for us. We've got to find a way." /N Mendoza also provided tactical insight regarding a recent game situation, discussing the decision to intentionally walk Nico Hoerner to first base in a high-leverage scenario, predicting the opposing team would take second base. /N the discussion also turned to the team's future leadership, particularly regarding star player Juan Soto's expected return. When asked if Soto would make a difference upon his return, Mendoza stressed the need for collective effort, saying, "Even when he comes, we've still got to get it done. It would be unfair to just throw everything on him." /N despite public support from figures like David Steers, the situation surrounding Mendoza's tenure remains precarious, with calls for wholesale changes mounting. However, the franchise's financial structure is heavily tied to Juan Soto's contract, which is reportedly designed to carry the team until its expiration. Analysts suggest that while Lindor may be viewed as an honorary scapegoat, numerous other talented players, including Freddie Peralta, Bo Bichette, Nolan McLean, and Luis Robert Jr., have failed to contribute during this losing streak. The New York Mets are facing a historic crisis as they suffered their 11th consecutive loss, falling to the Chicago Cubs 2-1 in a 10-inning contest at Wrigley Field on Sunday, April 19. The defeat was characterized by offensive futility, as the Mets managed only one run, courtesy of a fifth-inning home run by MJ Melendez, who emerged as the team's most effective offensive player despite a $358 million payroll. This loss extends a stretch of 11 straight defeats, the worst run since 2004. In the NL East, the Mets currently sit at a struggling 7-15 record, trailing the Miami Marlins and Washington Nationals, who possess significantly smaller payrolls. The game itself highlighted defensive errors that compounded the offensive struggles. Despite holding a one-run lead into the bottom of the 9th inning, a defensive misplay by Tyrone Taylor allowed a pinch runner to score, setting the stage for an extended, grim extra inning. Following the loss, the Mets return home for a 9-game homestand against the Minnesota Twins, Colorado Rockies, and Nationals. However, the team's poor performance raises serious questions about the management. Manager Carlos Mendoza acknowledged the difficulty, stating, "When you're playing one-run games, you have to be perfect. We are not impacting the baseball at all as a team." Mendoza also noted that while managerial firings are uncommon in April, his contract status for 2027 adds speculation to the situation. Shortstop Francisco Lindor defended the manager, stating, "He's done a fantastic job. This is not on him. We have the information. It comes down to us. Mendy's our guy. He's our leader. He's in control. He's done a tremendous job. The people paddling, we've got to paddle and execute." Lindor concluded that the team must focus on unity amidst the mounting pressure.